The Young Thug YSL trial has been absolutely wild so far. We ended last week with day 91 of court. Yeah, 91 days, meaning that they've spent 3 entire months, like in the courtroom Monday through Friday, going over evidence and collecting testimony from witnesses. And last week we got to see what is probably my favorite witness so far, and that was Kenneth Copeland, aka Lil Woody. Now his testimony wasn't great because he offered a bunch of evidence up or gave a bunch of statements that incriminated a bunch of people. Instead, it was entertaining for a completely different reason, and that is how disastrous his testimony has been so far. Woody really got on that stand and got a case of selective amnesia so bad that it prevented him from remembering his own age.
And Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Do you want to be here?
Ma'am?
Do you want to be here?
I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to let me ask you some questions?
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I get you to step outside to your headquarters of jury deliberation, please?
I knew as soon as it started like this, we was about to get some banging testimony from this guy. Now, last week I made a couple of videos covering the disastrous week that it was, but it was mostly revolved around the judge's activity, the prosecution, their closed door meetings and all that. And I really didn't have time to go over Woody's testimony and the things that he said or didn't say. And so I thought today we could take a look back at the wildest moments from Woody's testimony last week. Now, we all know the Young Thug is on trial because the state of Georgia is accusing him of being the founder and the leader of a criminal street gang known as YSL or Young Slime Life. And they say that, YSL's been terrorizing the city of Atlanta for a couple of years now. And we've seen testimony after testimony from person after person. But one of the people that everybody was looking forward to hearing testimony from was Lil Woody. And that's because a while back, footage leaked online of Lil Woody in the interrogation room with detectives spilling his guts, telling the guys the honest truth to them people. And so everybody expected that when Woody got his chance to get on the stand and give testimony that we were going to hear some groundbreaking stuff, but that ain't what we seen. Instead, the circus continued, and this guy got up there and pretty much gave us some of the best courtroom drama footage that I think I've ever seen. Now, bro was supposed to get up there and be the prosecution's star witness, LeBron on the stand with it. But if that's what they expected to get, and by them I mean the prosecution, they were sadly mistaken. Because out the gate, off the rip, Woody was uncooperative with these people. The moment that he got on the stand, his attorney stood up and let it be known to the entire court that Woody did not want to be there.
We have decided that whatever Mr. Copeland says, he will have immunity in this trial and in this proceeding. And that has been the state's decision, and the state can make that decision. And we have so done that pursuant to 24-5-507. If Mr. Copeland does not testify, he could be held in contempt. We had that conversation with him. And so the state would ask that the order that the court has signed be honored, and that Mr. Copeland be compelled to testify and not insert his Fifth Amendment privilege and testify as a witness in this proceeding.
May I respond, Judge?
Yes, you can, Mr. Miller.
He is present in the courtroom, Judge.
Okay.
What he has told me is that he repeatedly told the DA's office that he did not wish to cooperate, did not wish to testify, and wished to exercise his Fifth Amendment privilege.
So this whole thing started out a little rocky. You could hear the prosecution say, listen, we've told Woody that he's got to get on the stand. He has to give testimony. He can't assert his Fifth Amendment privilege. If he does, we're going to hold him in contempt of court. And the judge agrees that they would be able to do that. All right. So it started with the prosecution essentially threatening this witness, saying, if you don't do what we said do, you're going to go to jail. And his attorney basically got up and said, hey, look, judge, I don't know what they're talking about, but my client has said repeatedly, time and time again, that when he gets up here, he is going to assert his Fifth Amendment privilege. And they're calling it a privilege, not a right, because he's been given immunity, and they've also taken away his right basically to plead the Fifth by saying, if you do that, we're going to hold you in contempt of court. Ain't it funny how you got all the rights in the world in America until they decide that you don't? Anyways, the type of immunity they gave him is called use immunity. And what that means is anything that he says during this trial can't be used against him to prosecute him later. But that is coming from the state. So there still seems to be like a cloud looming over Woody's head. He's afraid that while the state won't be able to use it against him, the federal government will be able to double back and use whatever he says against him. So he don't want to say nothing.
So that's how we, as a due process, gets you to come to court. I mean, you were noticed as a witness. They've identified you as a witness. They've determined that your testimony is needed. Because of the fact that you have some concerns about what your testimony may indicate or could indicate in this case, and that's something that you and your counsel have talked about, and I'm not certainly going to inquire about that. But in order to potentially deal with anything that may come out of that, the state is basically, knowing that you have a Fifth Amendment privilege, says, okay, we acknowledge that. We're going to give you immunity. And as a result of that, then you have to testify as a result of that. If you don't testify, then I, as the judge in this case, have several remedies. One of those is that I could hold you in contempt and jail you because the way that you get out of that contempt is to just testify. That's the only thing they wanted in this case for you to testify. So your attorneys told me you're going to invoke your Fifth Amendment privilege. Done, said. However, the immunity has been signed. I have a copy of that right now. So you're required to testify. So if you don't testify, the state's probably going to ask me to jail you. And I'm probably going to do that. So I'd like you to go ahead out and talk with your lawyer and tell me what you want to do at that point in time, okay?
Do you need any more time to talk, Mr. Copeland? Okay. What is your desire at this time?
I'm taking the Fifth.
Okay, you're taking the Fifth, but you've got immunity, but you still want to, are you going to testify? That's the thing.
That's the question.
That's the question on the floor. I've acknowledged the fact you have a Fifth Amendment privilege, but the state's given you immunity, so that overrides that Fifth Amendment privilege. They require you to testify.
Yeah, but the state don't know what they're talking about. So if they ask me a question that implicate me, then...
Okay, they can't prosecute you on that. They can't. The order prohibits them from allowing them to use that testimony against you. All right, sir. What's your pleasure?
Say what?
I said, what's your pleasure, sir? Do you wish to give testimony? I know you don't want to give testimony in this case, but you've been given immunity in this particular circumstance, use immunity. So, are you going to testify?
Yeah.
And Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Do you want to be here?
Ma'am?
Do you want to be here?
I'm here.
Okay. Well, are you going to let me ask you some questions?
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the Fifth.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I get you to step outside to your headquarters of jury deliberation, please? Mr. Copeland, given the fact that you have invoked your Fifth Amendment privilege, but the state has already given you immunity under 24-5-507, this court holds you in willful contempt, and we'll see you on Monday. And we'll see if we can get some more testimony at that point in time. Take him into custody.
So the judge dropped the gavel on him, told him, all right, bro, since you want to be that way, go ahead, get in them handcuffs. You finna go to your new home, your brand new apartment, a 6x6 cell at the local jail. He gave him that big old vicious contempt of court charge, and away Woody went. And apparently they thought this was gonna open Woody's mind, make him remember things a little bit more clear, but it just didn't work that way for him, because Woody went to jail for 2 days, came back on Monday, hit the stand, and was just as forgetful as ever.
Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I got to say it back.
You haven't said anything yet. And when is your birthday?
Say that again.
When is your birthday? I'm sorry. When is your birthday?
Next month.
Is that July?
I think so.
Okay. And were you born on July 25th?
I guess.
Okay. Are you from Atlanta?
I'm from Canterville.
Okay. Is that a section of the city in Atlanta?
I guess.
You guess? All right. When you were younger, did you go to school?
Yes.
Where did you attend school?
I don't know. I went to a lot of different schools.
Okay, what are all the schools you went to?
I don't recall all of them.
Or just tell me some of them.
I only know one, Slater
Slater, is that elementary school or middle school?
Elementary.
Why you don't remember what middle school you went to? Did you go to middle school?
I think I did.
How long did you go to? Did you finish middle school?
Relevance.
Overruled.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Do you remember what year you left high school?
No.
All right. After high school, did you work?
No.
What did you do after high school if you weren't working?
Say that again?
Did you do anything? If you weren't working, what were you doing?
I don't recall.
Okay. Are you married?
Nope.
Are you in a relationship?
Nope.
Right. Do you have children?
You know that.
Okay. I do, but the jury doesn't. Do you have children?
Yep.
All right. How many?
More than one.
All right. Do you have more than 3?
I might. Ain't no telling.
Okay. That's perfect. That's fair. And how old are your 2 children?
The same age.
What's that?
I don't know. Y'all been having me in jail so long, I can't recall.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. This is comedy gold happening right here. Bruh said, I don't even know my kid's age. Y'all been having me in jail so long, dog. You can't make this stuff up, I swear. Anyway, so he's not being very much help while he's sitting on the stand. And the line of questioning that they're starting with is completely irrelevant if you ask me. Like, what does any of this have to do with YSL or Young Thug, right? I mean, I know they got to start the line of questioning somewhere, but this seemed like an odd spot to start it at. Now, they do eventually move on from this irrelevant line of questioning and try to get into something that is more case oriented. So let me add a little context for y'all. Young Thug has been charged in this RICO for allegedly running YSL. And the big part of this case is there are 2 people that are being charged with a very serious crime, and that is the murder of Donovan Thomas, also known as Big Nut. Now, Big Nut was killed back in 2015, and the 2 people that are charged with it are Shannon Stillwell and Diamontre Kendrick. The prosecution alleges that these are the guys that pulled the trigger, and they allege also that Young Thug is the person who rented the vehicle that was used in that crime. Now, in order for Woody's testimony to make any sense, they needed him to confirm that he knew all 3 of these individuals. So they lay some pictures out in front of him and try to get him to identify them. But as I'm sure y'all are aware, Woody wasn't going.
Can you take a moment and look at those pictures? Please look at those pictures.
Do I have to look at them?
Yes. I'm going to start first with Stacey's Exhibit 350 Yankee. Tell me if you recognize individual in Stacey's Exhibit 350 Yankee.
I recognize myself.
Okay. Do you recognize anybody else in 350 Yankee?
Myself.
Do you recognize anyone else in 350 Yankee?
Their faces covered up.
Okay. Do you see someone's face who's not covered up in 350 Yankee?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recognize who that person is?
I can hardly tell.
Okay. Is that Shannon Jackson?
Yes, Your Honor, me.
Your Honor, at this point in time, I'm turning to impeachment. Do you know someone by the name of Demikion Garlington?
Street name.
Little D.
For sure.
How do you know Little D?
I didn't birth him.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I almost birthed him.
You almost birthed him?
Yeah.
Tell the jury, what do you mean by that?
I mean, he my son.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Do you know another person who's referenced as Little D?
What you mean?
Do you know someone who's called Little D from Cleveland?
Oh, I heard of him.
You heard of him. Okay, we'll talk about him in a moment.
You said what now?
Tell me who you recognize in 380 Yankee.
Oh, me and Coco.
Who's Coco?
The ugly boy right here.
Okay.
Not only did they need Woody to identify that he knew these guys, they also needed him to identify that he knew Young Thug and explain the relationship between the two.
Our question is, when he was not in the studio and you hung out with him, where would you hang out with him at?
We used to do fun stuff, like go to like bowling alleys and stuff like that. He went to the kids' football game, I remember. I've been to the club with them. I've been on shows, correct that.
You said on shows?
Yeah, like when I watch him perform.
All right.
Now, at this point, things weren't really going that great for the prosecution, but it was right around this time where we seen something really big happen in this case. And that was that Brian Steele apparently obtained information that said that the judge had a closed door meeting with the prosecuting attorney, Woody, and Woody's at the time stand-in attorney. And in this meeting, Brian Steele alleged that the judge and the prosecutor coerced Woody into basically lying on the stand, right? And Brian Steele was upset because he wasn't invited to this quote unquote ex parte meeting. Now, Brian Steele said that this was highly inappropriate for them to do this, possibly illegal. He stood up in the middle of court and he called the judge out on this in front of everybody. Now, it was during this meeting that Woody apparently told the judge and the prosecutor that when he got on the stand, he was going to admit that he's the one that killed Big Nut. Now, if he was to get on the stand and do that, that could really hurt this case because remember, a big milestone of it is that Thug rented the car that two other alleged YSL members used to kill Big Nut. So if Woody gets up there and says he killed Big Nut, it could really dismantle a lot of things in this case. So Brian Steele was arguing that they basically put undue pressure on Woody to not say that on the stand, and even went as far as to say if he did get on the stand and say that, they would hold him in contempt or possibly charge him with perjury, and he could be facing jail time for that. Now, Judge Earl Glanfield actually got pretty mad about being called out for this, and instead of addressing that, he only wanted to really get the answer to one question, and that was, who snitched on us? He asked Brian Steele, who gave you this information? And Brian Steele refused to tell him, which led to Judge Glanville getting extremely mad and actually holding Brian Steele in contempt of court and sentencing him to 20 days in jail. However, the Georgia Supreme Court granted him a reprieve and said that he wouldn't have to be doing that. Now, that don't mean that he don't have to do it ever. It just means that he don't have to do that jail time right now. It was a pretty crazy moment in the case, and I covered it in a couple videos back, so I'm not going to play all the clips right here and waste y'all's time. If y'all want to see it, y'all could just go check out them other videos I made. Now, I had to say all of that in order to make the next part make sense, because the stand-in attorney that was in that closed door ex parte meeting was a woman named Kayla Bumpus. Now, Judge Glanville wanted to know, how did Brian Steele get this information? And just by reasonable deduction, everybody assumed that it was her because it was only the judge, the prosecution team, and this stand-in attorney that was in the room. So there was really only one person that Brian Steele could have got this information from, and it was her. Now, the judge actually ordered her in a few weeks to show up at a show cause hearing, which means that they're going to have to show up, and she possibly could be held in contempt of court as well, and also could face jail time for leaking this information. But after all of the chaos about this closed door ex parte meeting, apparently Woody decided that he didn't want this woman to represent her anymore, resulting in this classically viral courtroom moment where he basically says she fired and fires her right in front of everybody.
Before we call in our jury, it has been brought to the court's attention that Mr. Copeland's counsel, Ms. Bumpus, would like to be released. Is that correct, madam? Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Sir, Mr. Copeland, is it your desire to release your counsel at this point in time?
She fired.
She's fired? Okay. So do you wish to represent yourself in these particular, in terms of any issues you may have in this particular.
Do I got a choice?
I'm sorry?
Do I got a choice?
Yes, you do.
And what are those?
You can keep your lawyer that you have right
I
now.
don't want her.
All right. You could certainly hire another lawyer, or the court could appoint you a lawyer.
What I need a lawyer for? This one, what
No, it's just the court is just asking you whether it's your choice, sir.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
That's some truly classic stuff we got to witness right there. But let's move on. Let's get back to the actual testimony that he was giving. So at one point in this trial, the DA, the prosecutor, decided that she needed Woody to clarify some information that he had given to detectives back when he had an interview with them, the interview that was leaked online, right? The interrogation where he was spilling his guts. She decided that she wanted to ask him to clarify some of the things that he had told detectives during that interview. Now, that interview took place in 2021, and Woody is a convicted felon. So he had gotten caught with a firearm that he wasn't supposed to have because he's a felon, and he was facing up to like 10 years in jail because of that. So instead of just taking those charges, taking his time and laying down, he decided that he was going to tell detectives everything he knew about previous crimes that had been committed by alleged YSL members. And that included Young Thug, because during the interview, he had told those detectives that he would help set Young Thug up and get him to confess to the crimes that had been committed. However, when it came time for the prosecution to, reiterate those subjects while Woody was on the stand, he basically told her, look, I don't know what you're talking about during that interview. I just told detectives whatever they wanted to hear at the time. I was trying to finesse my way out the situation.
Did you tell myself and my colleagues, Ms. Love and others, about Little D and Shannon being in your vehicle the night of the murder?
Huh?
Yesterday, did you tell myself, Ms. Love, and a few of my other colleagues that Little D and Shannon were in the car with you the night of the murder of Diamond Thomas?
I told you and them that what I told investigators in June when Nut got killed, something different, because I was trying to finesse my way out of a situation. So I said, I picked up D and Shannon. D never told me nothing. I made it up to clear myself up. And that's it.
Okay. And was that yesterday that you said that? Did you tell us that yesterday, what you just said?
You asked me to be truthful. And I didn't. And I told you. What I told the investigator back then wasn't me being truthful. So I'm telling you something that I didn't tell them because I ain't trying to go back to jail.
I got it. But I asked you was yesterday. The first time you said this part, and now what you're saying today is what is truthful. What you're saying right now, what you're trying to tell the jury right now, is what you are now saying is truthful.
What I'm trying to tell you is our conversation was about something that I said in the past.
I understand. I'm asking you.
I asked that Mr. Copeland allowed to finish his.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I thought he wasn't.
Mr. Copeland, you need to finish your answers?
No, I need a break, Young.
Say again?
I need a break.
So on one hand, Woody sat in that interrogation room and told them detectives everything that they wanted to hear. On the other hand, when he got on the stand, he said, I was lying to them people. I was just telling them what they wanted to hear. I wanted my freedom back. I was trying to go home. So that was the second statement he gave about it. But that isn't all he said about it, because he was asked about this interrogation again. And this time he was basically like, I don't even remember the interrogation.
Do you recall what Thug said in 2015 to Kel?
Yes.
Yes, you remember what Thug said?
I don't recall what was said. I don't remember what was said.
Okay.
I don't remember me talking to the investigators about it.
All right. Do you remember telling Detective Gaither that when Kel got on the phone that Thug said the beef ain't over with until you pay for my window. You shot my window.
Yes.
Yes, you remember telling Detective Gaither that?
I don't remember what I done told the police.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Are you just saying yes now to speed up your questioning?
Most definitely.
Okay. Are you saying yes, that's what you told Detective Gaither?
I know I ain't complete school, but I think I'm speaking proper English. I told you, I don't recall nothing I said to no police. You keep sitting right here asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over. I'm tired of it. I'm drained.
Okay. Well, if you would just answer the questions
I
properly.
am answering the question. You asked me, I said yes, yes. When I say yes, you ask me the same question over and over and over and over and over.
But did you just tell the court or this jury that you're saying yes just to move the process along?
I think I said it loud and clear.
So again, will you just answer the questions and we can move the process along?
You keep asking. Okay, yes.
Bro really got on the stand and was just saying yes to everything, bro. She could have asked him if he went to the moon and he would have been like, yes, because he's so tired of being questioned. He just wants to go home at this point. This is similar to what happens in like interrogation rooms where they keep you in the interrogation room for, 32 hours or something like that. So you just start voluntarily admitting the crimes because you're just tired of being in there. This is very similar to that right there.
Did Thug ever speak with you about his relationship with Nut?
No.
Did you ever observe Thug and Nut together?
I never saw those two together. I never been around those two together. No, it never crossed my mind.
So how were you able to tell Detective Gaither that Nut and Thug was cool?
Because they're questioning me and I'm trying to get them off of me. And she asked me questions about Nut and Thug, I guess. And I'm telling her whatever she asked me, let's say she asked me a question about the sky. I'm gonna say, yeah, I seen the sky. It's blue. Whatever she asked me, I'm gonna agree to that. I'm gonna say whatever she asked me. If she asked me about this reporter right here, I'm gonna say, yep, she's sitting outside me with white tennis shoes on. I'm gonna say something. Just because I want her to believe I'm telling her the truth. That I want her to get me out of jail.
What, she has on white tennis shoes, don't she?
Don't you got on white tennis shoes? She got on Chucks.
Right, and they white, right?
What color your shoes is? Okay. She got on Chucks.
So you telling the truth?
What color your shoes is? She said they white.
Right, so you're telling the truth then.
Well, it depends.
Now, I'm laughing and giggling while I'm watching, this guy give testimony. But the truth is, nothing about this trial is funny. It is a train wreck, an absolute mess. It really shows how messed up the judicial system is in this country, right? Like, I'm laughing, but it's really no laughing matter. But either way, Woody has been one of the most entertaining witnesses I have ever seen get on the stand ever. But he's not even close to being the last witness that's going to be called. I mean, at the rate we're going with this trial, if you had a kid around the time that this trial started, they will be graduating college by the time this trial finishes. Now, that actually wasn't the end of Woody's testimony. He is scheduled next week to get back on the stand and deliver more testimony. And remember, this is a state's witness. The prosecution decided to call this guy up on the stand. I don't know how they think it's helping their case putting him up there, but they've put him up there. And at this point, it's too late to go back. Now, before I end the video, I do want to leave y'all with this one post that Woody made on his Instagram that I found pretty funny. It says, "Job, have you ever went to jail?" Me, no, I never went to jail. I was taken to jail. And I just thought that was kind of funny. But his testimony is going to resume next week. There's no telling what we're going to see. Y'all stay locked in. I'm probably going to be covering it because, how can I not? But anyways, that's basically it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, tap the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, it's been fun rocking with y'all, man. I'm out.